Texas MAGA supporters are having a moment, and not the good kind. Muslim kids being told they're dirty, women are property signs on college campuses, families fleeing to Russia only to get drafted into war, people who voted to gut FEMA now drowning and begging for help. This is what happens when ideology replaces common sense, when loyalty to a movement matters more than reality. Welcome back to Mind Mirror. This is Texas, where the chickens are coming home to roost.
Whew. You know what makes living in Texas so miserable? You'd think it was the heat. But it's not the heat, and it's not the humidity. It's the Trump supporters.
I am battling a severe case of the Sunday scaries, considering tomorrow I'm going to watch my 401k plummet. But I did want to give you an update about the state of MAGA here in Texas. I know some of you have had some success converting some MAGA. I'm assuming you must be in swing states or blue states, but here in Texas, the MAGA women are doubling down. A Muslim woman in our mom group for the city said her daughter was being targeted and being told she was dirty and not to be trusted. And another mom commented, well, if you understood the impact of 9/11, you'd know why that was happening. Another mom asked if anyone had seen an increase in grocery prices, and a MAGA mom commented, you haven't been worried about grocery prices for the last 4 years. So, yeah, they're still going strong here in Texas.
A Muslim child gets told she's dirty. Another parent justifies it with 9/11 to a kid who wasn't even alive when it happened. This is what happens when hate gets normalized, when cruelty becomes acceptable as long as it's aimed at the right people. You don't wake up one day deciding to terrorize children. You get there gradually, one justified exception at a time. Here's what nobody says. If your worldview requires dehumanizing a child to maintain it, your worldview is morally bankrupt. Period. Doesn't matter what you call it or how you dress it up. For parents dealing with this, document everything. Schools have legal obligations. Your silence protects the aggressor, never your child. And for anyone watching this happen without speaking up, your silence is a choice, and it tells everyone exactly where you stand.
LA, it's all pretentious what car you're driving. Everybody here drives a damn truck. And they're all MAGA too. That's a big thing for me. No one here's a fucking idiot, a liberal idiot.
So I don't know if you guys saw this or paid any attention to it, but the welcoming that Texas gave President Trump yesterday when he arrived here was something that I haven't seen a president get in a very, very long time. So moral of my little post here is, anyone and everyone that wants to support Trump, look guys, why don't y'all just come to Texas, okay? We'll succeed from the union. That means we'll be our own country. We have everything we need to do that. And we'll let Trump run it. We'll let Trump guide us. If a man's worth what he's worth and he's done what he's done and he can be who he's going to be, can't we just say it's fair to say that he's a badass motherfucker?
When you worship politicians like rock stars, you stop evaluating performance and start defending personality. Here's what matters. Are you better off? Is your community safer? Are your kids' schools better funded? Is healthcare more affordable? If the answer is no, but you're still cheering because someone owns the libs, you're not politically engaged. You're entertained. And entertainment doesn't pay bills. Judge leaders by outcomes, not by how much they anger the opposition. That's not disloyalty. That's basic accountability. And if your political movement can't handle that without calling you a traitor, you're not in a movement. You're in a cult.
And, I mean, he's got my vote. How about you?
Trump won, and this is what happens at Texas State University the very next day. On the Texas State campus, we have these free speech stallions, Mustangs, whatever they called them. I forgot what they called them. Long story short, people have posted up there with things like this. Types of property, women, slaves, animals, cars, land, etc. Women, slaves. Everyone's been posting it, you know. They got the homosexual sin, they got the women are property signs. It's all over the campus, right?
Women are property. Posted on a college campus in 2024, not as a historical reference, as a statement of belief. When people tell you who they are, believe them the first time. These aren't edgy jokes. They're test balloons. They're checking what they can get away with. And every time it goes unchallenged, the boundary moves a little further. For women watching this, especially on college campuses, some people genuinely do not see you as equals. They see you as accessories to their worldview. Your vote, your voice, your autonomy. They view it as rebellion against natural order. Document this, report it, make noise. Silence is always interpreted as permission. And for men, if you see this and don't speak up, you're complicit. You don't get credit for not being actively sexist while letting it happen around you. Call it out. Your silence tells every woman in your life exactly how much you respect them.
We are in 2024. For the United States, to be, you know, one of the top countries in the world. And out of all the European countries, Australia, the UK, we in the USA are just the least progressive. The world literally looks at us and just like, what the heck? Are y'all still in 1940, 1930, 1920? Because even if you're a Trump supporter, is this okay to y'all? Like, in your mind, do you agree with this Trump supporter? Because I guess y'all could differ, but...
You know, we do have a literacy crisis in this country, and, you know, I guess you heard what I said or read the words on screen, but you didn't quite process it, because what I said was that the majority of people in Texas believe in progressive policies. What I also said is that the Republicans know that, and so they've rigged the game. They've made it harder for people to vote, especially people of color, and people who are poor, impoverished, people who don't have access to transportation, computers, their original birth certificates, all of that. So, yeah, Texas consistently votes red. Most people in Texas don't vote. So maybe go watch that video again.
Texas doesn't stay red because everyone loves conservative policies. It stays red because the game is rigged. Polling locations cut in poor neighborhoods. ID requirements that cost money and time most people don't have. Mail-in voting made nearly impossible. This isn't theory. It's documented strategy. Here's the tell. If your ideas were actually popular, you wouldn't need to make voting harder. You'd make it easier, more accessible, more convenient. When a political party needs to suppress turnout to win, it's admitting its platform can't win on merit. And it works because most people don't have the bandwidth to fight through deliberately created obstacles just to exercise a constitutional right. That's the genius of it. Make it just difficult enough that people give up. For anyone who wants to push back, register people to vote, drive them to polls, help them get IDs, volunteer as a poll worker. The system counts on apathy. Prove them wrong. Defeatism is their greatest weapon. Don't hand them the victory before the fight starts.
Care to see something absolutely insane? Watch this clip.
I just thought of a way to combine my MAGA hating and my work in the ER. MAGA supporters are like people who hold on to fireworks too long. You love it until it hurts you. Kind of like, how you love it until you can't retire until the age of 70. So see it in the ER, folks, when your fingers get blown off. Oh, have a good day.
What is wrong with these people? Like, you literally have an ER nurse here saying, hey, I know how to take out my hate and frustration for MAGA. You know, the job that I went to college for and the career field that I chose to do because I wanted to help people. Yeah, I'm going to make it painful for you or impossible for you at the ER in one of the lowest moments of your life, just because you voted for the candidate I didn't like.
The second you say you'll treat patients differently based on politics, you've lost the moral high ground. You've become exactly what you claim to oppose. Healthcare workers take oaths. You don't get to pick and choose who deserves care. That's not resistance. That's malpractice. Your principles only mean something when you uphold them in the hard moments, when you're angry, when the other person deserves it. Because the moment you say, it's okay to hurt people I disagree with, you hand your opponents justification to do the same to you. Be better, not because they deserve it, because you do.
Y'all remember the pediatrician here that literally got her license revoked, got fired from her job because she said, hey, if you voted for Kamala and you live in Texas, I hope you're safe and dry. But if you voted for MAGA, you're getting what you deserved. What the hell is wrong with these people?
My friends, the time has come. We are now in that period of time when the monster that the Republican Party created is beginning to destroy it. Now, this was always going to happen. This was absolutely 100% inevitable. And it should have happened a long time ago. And actually, we thought that it did in 2020 after he lost the election. And then, as part of a criminal conspiracy to essentially overthrow the republic, to steal an election that he lost, to install himself illegally as president for another term, he incited a violent insurrection as part of that enterprise on live TV, in which a mob of his cult followers attacked another branch of government, and on and on and on. We thought that the moment in time where the monster that is Donald Trump was finally going to destroy the party that gave birth to that monster, nurtured that monster, gave itself over completely to that monster. We thought that that was happening in 2020, and it was. The problem is that he was allowed to be rehabilitated for a whole variety of reasons. That is not the subject of this video, but the important part here is things are different this time. He can never run again, despite teasing that he's going to run for a third term. Not going to happen. In fact, I don't think we're going to be that lucky. I mean, I'm talking here about Trump destroying the Republican Party, and Trump trying to run again for a third term would be awesome. I mean, it would just further destroy the party even worse than is already happening. But again, we're not going to be that lucky.
Political parties die when they sacrifice principles for personalities. We're watching it happen in real time. The party traded fiscal conservatism for spending sprees, family values for moral relativism, limited government for executive overreach, but only when their guy's in charge. Now they're stuck. The base doesn't want traditional conservatism anymore. They want performance, grievance, an enemy to hate. So what happens when the show ends? When there's no more seasons to air? You get a party that can't articulate what it stands for beyond opposing Democrats. That's not governance. That's reactionary tribalism dressed up as ideology. Here's the universal lesson. Movements built around people always collapse. People are fallible. They age, lose elections, die. But principles last. If you can't explain your worldview without mentioning specific politicians, you don't have a platform. You have a parasocial relationship. And those don't govern. They just make noise until nobody's listening.
But what prompted me to discuss this topic this morning is that as I was reading the news, having my coffee at my hotel, which I hate staying at hotels. I'm still, out of state visiting family, so I'm a little out of my routine. Anyway, I was reading an article in The Hill, and they have a piece, and the title is "Why Gavin Newsom Would Crush J.D. Vance in 2028." And in this piece, the authors raised several points that I've been talking about for a while now, for months. And while they don't specifically talk about how I'm framing it here as Trump destroying the party, this MAGA civil war that I've been talking about, and man, 2026 is going to be lit, as the kids say. It's going to be lit. It's going to be the year where all of this that I've been talking about is going to be undeniable. This is the year where the Republican Party implosion and the MAGA civil war, which are both...
This Trump supporter is finding out the hard way. A Texan father who moved his family to Russia to escape woke Texas is being sent to the front lines of the Russia-Ukraine war. Yeah, Texas was too liberal for this guy. His name is Derek Huffman, and you want to know what the final straw for him and his family was? His daughter heard about lesbians at school, and not in some class, but some kid just walking by mentioned them. That's all it took for him and his family to say, you know what? We're getting out of this liberal hellhole you call Texas. We're moving to Russia. Russia originally offered him a role as a war correspondent, and then as a mechanic in the repair battalion. But now he's being trained for frontline combat, something he absolutely does not want to be a part of. You're telling me American military recruiters aren't the only ones that lie? Look at how surprised I am.
Guy leaves Texas because his daughter heard about lesbians, moves to Russia for traditional values, gets conscripted to fight on the front lines. Wife's now on YouTube begging for help. You can't make this up. When you make decisions based on ideology instead of reality, reality always wins. This man fell for propaganda telling him Russia was some conservative paradise, when it's actually an authoritarian state that will use you up and throw you away the second you're not useful. For anyone romanticizing authoritarian governments, they don't care about your values. They care about power. And you're expendable. The grass isn't greener, it's just different dirt with different rules about who gets crushed under the boot. If you hate where you live, get involved locally. Run for school board. Organize. Build the community you want. Don't flee to a country that smiles while feeding you to the meat grinder.
Deanna, his wife, also reported that him and the other members of his unit were forced to donate 10,000 rubles for their own supplies, which took up much of their paycheck. His wife also reported that they have not received any payment after being there for a month already. Now his wife is on YouTube asking for prayers and begging anyone to help him get reassigned out of the front lines. Does Derek and his family realize that nobody forced them to go to Russia? Derek fell for the Russia propaganda hook.
Dear women that voted for Trump, the leftists aren't coming after you. The only reason that you fear violence and retaliation from another group of people is because you are used to your side threatening violence and retaliation against other women, minority groups, and people of color. You are so used to capitulating with your oppressors that you expect the enemies that your oppressor has told you to fear will come after you. The only thing that leftists are going to do is to tell you that you are going to face the consequences of your own actions. And eventually you're going to realize that we were fighting for your voice as much as we were our own. Because the oppressors that you capitulate with will tell you to shut up, sit down, and be silent unless you are actively fighting for the things that they want. Because you have always been and always will be a useful tool for fascism. You know it, and so do I.
Women who align with movements that see them as second-class citizens need to understand something fundamental. You will not be rewarded for your loyalty. You will be used until you're no longer useful, then discarded. Look at the policies. Look at who benefits. It's not you. It's not your daughters. It's the men who see you as incubators and support staff, not equals. Maybe you thought being one of the good ones would protect you, that aligning with them would earn you a seat at the table. But they don't want you at the table. They want you serving it. Your rights aren't guaranteed. They were fought for by women before you, and they can be taken away if you don't fight to keep them. Bodily autonomy, equal pay, protection from violence, these aren't partisan issues. These are human rights. When you vote for people actively working to strip those rights, don't act shocked when you become a casualty too. The leopard always eats your face eventually.
Hello, my lovelies. I want you to watch this clip from another content creator, and then we're going to chat.
Supporters of Donald Trump will never stop supporting him, regardless of the circumstances.
Now, I will tag this content creator below. You should go check out their platform. He puts really good stuff out. But as I've watched this video again and again and again, I was struck by something that makes me sad. Now, I have people that I've known for years, for decades. In some cases, people I've known my entire life that have bought in to this whole America First Christian nationalist nonsense. They are fully indoctrinated MAGA cult members. They make excuses for everything Donald Trump has ever done or said that was vile. And even now, knowing that he may have put our entire national security at risk, they make excuses. Now, this isn't a difference of political opinion. I can have a difference of political opinion with you on what it would take to give us a solid economy, on what it would take to generate more jobs, on what we need to do to fix the educational system. Those are things that I can have a difference of opinion with you on and still be civil and friendly. But when it comes to human rights, when it comes to the rights of women and minorities and the chronically ill and the impoverished and migrants and immigrants, and that's not up for debate. They're humans, and basic human rights should be extended to them, period. It doesn't matter what religion they follow. It doesn't matter the color of their skin. It doesn't matter their socioeconomic status. It doesn't matter who they love. And America First Christian nationalists are hell-bent on making everybody to conform to their idea of what a decent human is. And if you won't conform, you don't count. What this means for those of us that love people that have been sucked into that cult, we are facing some grieving if we haven't already done it. Not that we've lost people physically, not that they're dead, but we've lost the relationship. Speaking for myself, I've had people that I used to be able to confide in and pour my heart out to and be my most real self with that now I have to be guarded around. I can't tell them everything that's on my heart because they're not a safe space for me anymore. And in some cases, I've begun to grieve the loss of that relationship because it will never be the same with them again, because they will never wake up and see the truth. And so they have moved from my inner circle. They have moved from being one of my ride or dies to being somebody I knew, but somebody that I have to keep at arm's length. And that's heartbreaking.
Dear women that voted for Trump, I live in Texas, in the South. I went shopping yesterday. I wasn't wearing my denim jacket with a rainbow flag. I wasn't wearing my Pussy Power shirt. I wasn't wearing a pretty blue bracelet or any safety pins. There were multiple people of different races and nationalities inside of the grocery store, and none of them magically knew who I'd voted for. And yet, I am safe. It continues to be the Republican men that wish to control my body and the means in which I give birth that are the real danger. Shocking.
Karma. Imagine living in the hill country, voting MAGA everywhere across the board, begging to defund FEMA and all this assistance to people that need help, especially in disasters. And then you get these Texas floods, and then you're sitting there begging for fucking help because you ain't getting it from the motherfuckers you voted for. That's called karma. It's a horrible thing to fucking say because I feel bad for all the others, but that's called karma.
Floods hit Texas Hill Country. The same people who voted to defund disaster relief are now begging for help. Look, I'm not celebrating suffering. Disasters don't care about your voting record. But there's a lesson here that can't be ignored. When you vote to cut services because you think you'll never need them, you're gambling with your own safety. FEMA isn't welfare. It's disaster insurance for everyone. Policy has consequences. Your vote affects real things. When you cut education, schools close. When you cut healthcare, people die. When you cut disaster relief, you drown. Before you vote next time, ask yourself, if this policy came back to hurt me and my family, would I still support it? Because eventually it will. Ideology without accountability is just performance. And the performance is ending. The people in this video aren't victims of liberal propaganda. They're victims of their own unwillingness to think critically. To anyone questioning whether they got it wrong, you're not a traitor for changing your mind. You're human, and humans learn. Drop a comment, hit that like button, and subscribe. Stay sharp.